I'll tell you a little bit more about what a Thrive Hub is. Before I do, just a little bit of background and why we think this is an important opportunity for us. And it's really about the fact is that the way we work is changing. It's not something we're instigating here, it's already happening. It's happening at different paces in different organisations in different industries. And it's driven by a number of different things, some of which are listed there. You've got drivers around technology. The fact is we're all mobile. We've got cloud solutions that allow us to work from anywhere. It's just as if you were in an office, you can work exactly the same way at home or in a different location. You have drivers around cost reduction. So small organisations don't really want to be tied to long-term office leases. Larger organisations are looking to reduce the amount of office space they've got per employee in their organisation. So again, looking for cost reduction. You've also got legislative-based changes. So those are, every employee has got an increasing right to have flexible working. That's driven by legislation and will continue to be the case going forward. So with this package of drivers, it creates a need for a different working space, away from just the traditional place you go to as your office, same day, every day, 9 to 5. And that's very much changing and is the backdrop to what we're doing. There are alternatives. So if you don't have an office space, in the traditional sense, work from home. And I certainly have tried that, and I'm sure lots of people have, and it's definitely got its place. It's a great catch-up time or an opportunity to do that. But if that is your main place of work, working from home, it can be isolating. It's not allowing you to create a business network. It's hard to switch off. I've got in trouble a lot using the kitchen table and hogging it, or using the spare bedroom and hogging that. And again, the house isn't always set up to be a working environment for you to use. And like I say, it's hard to switch off and create that separation between that home life and work life. The public spaces are an option, coffee shops, hotel lobbies, and a lot of people do business in those spaces. If you go to any high street coffee shop, you can look at most people around the room, and a large majority of them are doing business and are trying to in that space. There are challenges there as well. They're often busy, noisy. Might take you half the time you're in there to get on the Wi-Fi, and then it doesn't really work when you actually get connected to it. There's a confidentiality risk. You're having perhaps important, sensitive business conversations, and who knows who's earwigging or listening to that conversation on the next table. So, and you have the traditional serviced office model, and I think there are a lot of service office providers who provide a very good functional space, but they're not always necessarily the most inspiring environments. There's always accusations of hidden charges. You're not quite sure what you're actually paying for, and flexibility. Sometimes you're enforced to use a particular telephone system, or the broadband's flexibility is fairly limited, so you've got to use the hardware that they provide. So there's some challenges there, and I think fundamentally the last point, the key one for us, is that a lot of those places don't necessarily try to create an environment that is a community of businesses operating together. You may well see, as you go in on the left, a list of names that operate in that space, but you don't know what they do. You don't know what their expertise is. You don't know how to get in touch with them if you're interested in what they do. So there's missing an opportunity really to recognise that this is a business hub and an environment for people to interact and to share. So challenges with the alternatives. What is the solution? Well, a Thrive Hub for us is a flexible co-working space. And what that basically means is a combination of offices that you can rent for a period, co-working desks, hot desks in an open plan space that you can rent for an hour, a week, a day, a month, a year, whatever is required. Formal meeting spaces, such as the Cresswell room at the back we walk through, which is more of a boardroom style, or informal meeting spaces, which is what this space is when it's not set up for an event, which is just an area of sort of tables and chairs where people can have breakout, more informal discussions, informal chats. Layered on top of that is we need to provide a really good food and beverage solution. We also have office-based services, so provide telecoms, provide IT services, provide virtual office solutions such as virtual PA who can answer the phone, make calendar appointments, organise events, etc., etc. So there's a whole range of services that sit on top of the physical space, and really allows us to create, for a small business or a growing business, a perfect business in a box package. Yes, you can just use the space if you've got your own IT, but it's available as an additional option if required. So with that space and that flexibility, we see from research that's been done on, particularly where these centres are more commonplace in the States or in London, a lot of benefits from that. So there's listed some of them there. So people who work in a co-working environment as opposed to, say, at home or in coffee shops, they see a significant increase in their social circle just by fact they're going somewhere with like-minded people to work and to spend the day. From that improved social circle network, they can expand their business network. And that's where it starts to really give them a business benefit. Productivity's up in terms of the innovation, the idea sharing, the creativity that comes from interacting with other people in a similar mindset manifests itself as improved productivity. And getting a better private life with that work-life balance, that you've actually got a place to go to work that isn't necessarily you're tied to in terms of an office that you're committing your business to. So lots of benefits to it. We go picking up on Mark's theme as to what our goals are. So we've got goals for the Burrington Estate business. The goals for Thrive fundamentally are these 4 things. This is what we want to be known for. Our locations. So it's not just a single operator play in one building. Our plan is to roll these out on a national basis so that you've got a Thrive centre where you would expect to see one in a high street or a city centre. The locations themselves, we think really, really carefully and do the demographics and try and work out exactly how the business community works with a space. Some city centres are less of a business centre than others. Some are more out of town, so we need to really work out how the business community interacts with that city centre. Where is the best location? How do you make the best use of the actual building? What's the right balance between office space and meeting desks and meeting rooms? Get that correct. I have to point out the bum seat booker. I don't know if anyone can read it from the distance. That is basically the brand name given to our technology that allows people to book a very specific seat in a very specific meeting room at a very specific time on your iPad, on your phone. As you go into the office, you can book that particular location and order the coffee. So my job was to come up with the extremely complex technology that's going to allow all of this to happen. Mark's job was to come up with a name. Yeah. And and hence we've ended up with the bum seat booker. So I'm more of the conservative operational delivery person. So I'm struggling with it, and Mark thinks it's the right way to go. So we did an interesting exercise this morning where we asked people simply to vote. Let's see democracy in action. But Mark wanted to do a pitch first so he could sell the bum seat booker. So I have to learn the same opportunity to do it this time as well.
Voting?
So yeah, we'll do a quick show of hands. Yeah.
So basically, for me, how do you differentiate for competition? You've got to have something that's memorable. And for me, the feature of being able to pre-book a table or a seat for your meeting is key. So if you go to a Starbucks, you're around, you don't know, hotel lobby. So the other thing is memorability. The physical, that's a very memorable name. So if you've got the bum on your app, you're going to remember that. Everybody in this room will walk out of this room remembering one thing, the bum seat booker. So that's my pitch.
So my pitch is, just look at the icon. Yeah. So quick show of hands, who thinks it should stay? Who thinks it should go? Right, so we accept the decision of the jury in this particular case. Yeah, both juries that we've had today.
Touch the bum.
On that bombshell, who said that? Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Okay, so technology-wise, we want to be known for the systems that we actually use, so the system that's going to allow customers to interact with our spaces the way I mentioned, but also the Wi-Fi. It's got to be resilient, it's got to be easy to get access to, it's got to be flexible enough that if you want to do something different with it, like you've got your own telephone system, you need to be able to set that up on it. We've got to provide that infrastructure to do that. It's almost a given now that unless you've got that, it's just not a workable business space. Our goal is also to be reliable and flexible. So again, going back to that point about the wider rollout, you want to know, when you go to a Thrive Hub, you know exactly what you're going to get. You know what's going to be in that space, you know how you're going to use it, you know the sort of services that you can expect, and it becomes reliable as a result. The flexibility point's key because, again, you know, if customers are growing or expanding and they've got an office that they're about to outgrow, then actually they can still use the co-working desk as a bit of an overflow. So they don't have to uproot the whole business into a new location. They just use the combination of office space and hot desks to provide that need. And then you can scale back when needed, scale up when needed, when you've got perhaps additional people in or contractors or consultants in in the business. So it should be a flexible space for that. And the fourth point, and absolutely critical to us, is our teamwork. Our community is our team. So that's not just the team that we put together to deliver the hubs, it's the actual customers themselves that use those hubs. And we should make it very, very easy for one of our customers who's got a need for a particular product or a solution to find that answer within the Thrive community. So if they want to find a graphic designer in Plymouth, they should be able to search for one. And not only that, they should be able to find one that somebody else in the Thrive community has used. And that's a really good warm introduction, a warm lead. It's a good referral that you've actually got a supplier for the service you want. And they have also supplied other people in that community. We want to actively encourage using spaces like this. Our Thrive customers should be a midweek session where they can stand up and just talk about their business and explain how they operate, how they work, use it as networking events. So rather than have that sterile office space that you go in and you go out of, it becomes a true hub, a true thriving hub for a business community. And our spaces will be set up to facilitate that, and our systems will be set up to allow people to interact in that way. So that's the concept. In terms of locations, whereas here is one of our first Thrive hubs, it's also our home team really. So we've managed to fill all of the office space that's here already, even though it's currently being fitted out, with people that are connected to our business. The next location to launch will be in Plymouth, and that will happen early next year. And it is more of a true hub setup. So you'll have the office space and you'll have the co-working desks in the same location, which I'll touch on in a second. And as you can see, for the other locations we bring online, or the other buildings we're bringing into the portfolio, then there's the opportunity, if it fits, to put a Thrive hub into those properties. Beyond that, our focus then is to, in terms of the timescales, as I mentioned, complete the fit out here and in Plymouth, and launch both of those properties early next year. There's timescales for that. Whilst we're doing that, we're always researching and looking for the next site, the next location, whether it be in our portfolio or whether it's outside of our property portfolio. We're looking at potential future sites for that national rollout, which will commence in the second half of next year. And whilst we're doing that, the great thing about having our own property is that we can use this space as a chance to get everything right, get everything refined, get the customer proposition right, get the technology right, get the branding, the look and feel, the fit outs, get the whole thing working within our own portfolio, meaning that we can then commence the national rollout, absolutely hitting the mark with what customers need and want from the space. In particular, we'd like to explore the two models that I mentioned at the bottom. The franchise model, straightforwardly, is for somebody who wants to take our model and actually use that brand, use the systems, use the capability to run a Thrive hub in their own properties. And the operator model, sort of in reverse. Somebody's already got a serviced office or they've already got a co-working space, but they're just a single operator in one location, is that we can operate it on their behalf under our umbrella and effectively create a wider extended network of customers for them to tap into. So there's two potential evolutions of this model. It helps with the scalability and helps with the long-term funding story for the business. So I think that's me to the end of my particular section. It'd be great to have a chat to anybody afterwards who's got any particular experiences of using these sites, or if any of this stuff resonates in terms of the challenges with using existing options that are out there. Yeah, thank you very much for listening.